Hello and happy Thursday. Great to have you here. Now today I'm in my fizzy, fabulous place. That's right, I've got my apron on, I'm in the kitchen, I've got my oven preheated, ready to make the pizza potato bake out of book 2. This is what we're making today. There's the picture from this fabulous book. And I'm excited because it is one of those just a little bit different take on something traditional like a potato bake. Now, before we get into the recipe, we need to talk about the winners from last week's show who are so excited. So we've got Helen McCartan, she's super fizzy, Suzanne Pippin and Tammy Cooper. Now, these girls all have won a signed copy of book 3 from last week's Light Mars Bar Slice show. All right, so now we're going to make pizza potato bake. Now this is a great recipe because traditionally potato bake is very high in fat, and you know, sometimes it's nice to do a twist on things, as you know I love to do. So this one isn't sort of like that cheesy, really creamy sauce. It's more hitting that tomato pizza. So it's a perfect one for barbecuing. We're going into that barbecue season, so perfect, perfect, perfect. Now we need the ingredients. So we start with a kilo of peeled potatoes. So when I say that, it means you actually weigh it once it's peeled. It's not with the skin on, so it's a kilo of peeled potatoes, and you slice them. And you can see I've got them already here, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So you've got the potatoes. Now you're also going to need some garlic, dried basil, some of that Kraft Parmesan cheese, that, you know, finely grated. You need some 30% reduced cheese, a can of diced, no added salt tomatoes, 100 grams of that nice 97% fat-free ham. You're also going to have capsicum, tomato, shallots, and a bit of water, a bit of cooking spray, and we're ready to go. So let me explain what I've done here. Because of time restraints, I couldn't show you the whole thing. So what I did before we started is, first of all, I've preheated my oven to 220 degrees. And remember, we're making the pizza potato bake out of book 2. And what I've done is I peeled it and I used my machine. So I just sliced it thinly because I like the way it just gets uniform slices. But you can certainly hand slice it if you haven't got a machine, but make sure they're not thick. I mean, if you look at my slices here, you'll see that they're not real big, thick pieces, because the idea is we want it to cook and not take 3 hours, because sometimes with that thick potato it can be like that. So I've sliced it up. You then put it into a microwave dish with a little water or your sliced potato and microwave it on high for maybe 12-15 minutes. But what you do is check. So this is nearly cooked. It's pretty close to cooked, but it's still holding its shape, and that's when you want to stop, because you don't want it to be all crumbled up. So then you take that cooked potato over to your sink and you rinse it, and then you wash it with the cold water in your tap and take off the starch and cool the potato down, because you're going to have to touch it as you do it, like I'm going to do, and so you don't want it to be boiling hot. So you boil them in the microwave for 12-15 minutes, the sliced potato, then you rinse it, and I'll tell you what it says here. I go, drain, run cold water over the potato to cool, and be careful not to break the potato up. So there you go. Now we're going to prep up the veggies. So we start with the capsicum. We want 1 cup of diced capsicum. And for this recipe, I like to use the green, but you can use whichever one you like. And you know, the story with capsicum is that the red capsicum is the sweetest one, and green is actually an unripened red. So that's what I've heard. I think it's right. I mean, we believe everything on Google, don't we? All right, so we're going to chop up the capsicum. Now, don't make them really big chunks, because once again we want this to cook in the time allowed, and we also want to share all the love and get lots of this mixture throughout. Now the good thing is with this recipe is, who doesn't love the flavors of pizza? I mean, yes, you have me at hello. Now let me get my bowl here, and I'm going to put the cup, I'm going to do it as I go. That looks pretty well right. So cup we're going to put it in the bowl. Might as well throw those little bits in. Put that to the side. Now we're going to do the shallots, and we want a cup. So we probably need a few. So take off the little end bits. Now, if you haven't got shallots or they're expensive, because sometimes they can be ridiculously expensive, you can use onion, and you can do sliced onion instead. But for today, I want to use the shallots, and I tend to try and chop them all up at the one time because I like to be quick. Just slicing the shallots. Now remember, this is the pizza potato bake in book 2, and stay tuned because I'm going to be giving away later in the show, so you need to find out how to do that. And I always like to use a lot of this green as well because it's still got lots of lovely flavour. What do I do with my cup? Okay. We want a cup of shallots. That looks pretty good. Perfect. Oh, you can see I'm a messy cook, aren't I? In the rubbish bin. And the last thing I want to chop up on this with the vegetables is tomato. And we want half a cup. Now, this is, as I said in the beginning, is a tomato-based potato bake. So, you know, I think it's nice for a change. I love making this for barbecues. And it's just a little different from the traditional potato bake. So I want half a cup. That looks pretty good. Yep. Just put it all in the bowl. And now what I'm going to do is do the ham. And I've got 100 grams here, or it's a cup, depending however you want to do it. So I'm going to just slice this up. As I said, I really love using the 97% fat-free ham because it's so lean. Now, if you're a vegetarian, I do have a version for you. Now, what you do instead of the ham, obviously you don't put that in, and you put instead 1.5 cups of sliced mushrooms. I know, how fabulous. I've actually made this a lot with the vegetarian version because I find sometimes if you don't know people's dietary requirements, it's maybe a good way to go. Now, I know that's a cup, so I'm just going to throw that all in. So that's where if you weigh it, sometimes it's just easier as well. And we have all the chopping done. So let's just move this over, and I'm going to just wash my hands because they're a bit hammy. Now, the fat count of the pizza potato bake is 5.1, and if you do vegetarian, it's 4.8. So there you go. Super easy to fit into anyone's healthy regime. Okay, so we need, this is pizza. Hello, we have to have garlic. Yes. Teaspoon of garlic. Half a teaspoon of dried basil. Let's move my little spoon down to half. I mean, it's just all the things I love about pizza. We're going to put in 2 tablespoons of the Kraft Parmesan and 3/4 of a cup of the 30% reduced fat cheese. That's 75 grams if you wanted to know the weight. And I think that's it, yep. So now we just mix all this pizza love together. Oh, bueno, baby, yes. Oh, look at me throwing the food around. This is just a lovely way to enjoy potato. Now, it's the potato bake out of book 2, remember? And the good news is, if you like potato bakes, I have you covered. That's right, because I have several potato bakes. Like, we've got the traditional potato bake, which I've done on the show before a while back, and that is in book 2, which is this book as well with the pizza potato bake. You're welcome. 2 potato bakes in the one book. I've also got the potato slice in book 3, and I did this one because I was trying to think of another way to do a potato bake, and I grated the potato in it. It's fabulous. You'd love it. And then I did in book 6 the quick and easy potato bake, and as well I converted the potato bake for the cooking for 1 or 2, so you're not landing up with a whole big thing of potato bake if there's just 2 or 1 of you at home. So that's fantastic. All right, so now what we do is bring our dish over. I'm going to make this tomato up too. Let's do that. Let's move that over. We're going to also make up the tomato sauce. So you need no added salt, because I'm looking after your heart as well as your hips here, people, because we want a low salt diet. Now, because I like to get everything out, here's a tip. Pour your water into there, give it a shake, and I'm getting all of the tomato out. Give that a beat up. And this is what you'll see in a minute what we do with this. It just goes over and this helps cook it all. All right. So first of all, we start with the cooking spray. You want a lasagna dish for this. You know, this size is perfect. I wonder if I say what size the lasagna dish is. It'd be good if I did. Okay, well I didn't. I'm sorry. All right, now we're going to do the potato slices. And this is where you just layer them. Don't sort of just throw like big chunks of it all together. Spread it out. Break up the little pieces a little bit. And that way it'll cook quicker and easier. And if you've just tuned in, hello, where have you been? We're making the pizza potato bake out of book 2. I know, it's a beautiful recipe. I think this is one that the kids love a lot too. All right, so we're going to look at about half of the potato. So just judge that. Let's have a look. A little bit more. There you go. All right, so I've laid out the potato. So there you can see. Yeah. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do half of this mix. So see, look at this pizza mix. I know, it's fabulous. So I might use my hands actually. So you want half. And in this mix, remember, it's got the capsicum, the tomato, shallots, the ham, garlic, basil, cheese, parmesan. All right, so now we've put that mix on, and now we finish it with the rest of the potato. Now, I think it's really clever. Am I allowed to say that I'm clever? Okay, I'm clever because by parboiling it first and cooking it up, well, you cook it in the microwave first, it really takes less time. So you've preheated your oven to 220, so it's a hot oven. But even still, after doing this, you're going to cook this potato bake for an hour. Hello, I know it takes a while because there's nothing worse than a hard potato in a bake. Oh no, we do not do that. And so you cook it for an hour. I'm going to cover it with foil. I'll show you in a minute. And then you take the foil off after the hour and then cook it for about another 15, 20 and you're good to go. All right, so now this is where you pour the tomato. So if you can see here, look at that. Fabulous. How many does this serve again? 8 as a side, so hello. Perfect. So just I pour it down the middle so the tomato kind of lands in the centre. And that way what you can do then is just spread it out a bit. I mean, this is not hard, is it, guys? It's just so different from a normal potato bake. And I think your family is going to think you're fabulous. All right, so we've got that over and the juices will help cook it. And finally what we do is top it with the remaining pizza mix. That's it. Yeah. How good is this? Remember, this is the pizza potato bake out of book 2, 5.1 grams of fat. I mean, can I just tell you, in a traditional potato bake, oh gosh, what would be in that? I mean, 30, 40, 50, it'd be shocking, let's just put it that way, because of the cream and sometimes people put bacon in. I mean, who knew weight loss could be so deliciously healthy doing it my way? Let me just wash my hands. We are nearly done. Now what we're going to do is get it in the oven. So what I do, another little trick you might like, is I use the foil and then I spray it. And this way it helps the food not cling to the foil. Give it a good solid press in. We want it to really cook with the closed up. I'll just open the oven. That's 220, remember. In we go. Ooh. Fantastic. I want that in for an hour. Potato bakes can take a while. All right, so we've got our potato bake in the oven. Remember, we will just take the foil off after the hour, cook for a bit longer, and there you go. But look, I made one just before because I wanted you to see how fabulous it looks. So here it is. This is it, cooked and ready to go. This is the potato bake out of book 2. Now, if you would like to win book 2, what do? Okay, you like, you share, and in the comments you're going to write #Symply2Good. Now, if you do that, I will pick 3 fabulous people to win it, and it's just a great book to have. Now, before I finish up, I want to remember next week I'll be in the kitchen again, and I've picked a fabulous recipe. It's the chicken basil stir fry out of book 6. Now, it's actually in the new spring challenge menu for next week, and I just love it. It's one of my go-to stir fries. If you've not made it, you make sure you're here next Thursday. But look, if you're interested in the challenge, it starts Monday. We're all excited. Sign up now. All you've got to do is click onto the membership tab on the website for more information, because I'd love you to join me. Alrighty, so you take care. We've got the beautiful bake ready to have for lunch this afternoon with some nice salad, and we'll see you next time.